Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to Brownlow Books. It's Monday. I have a review. Read Whiskey When We're Dry by John Larison. You can probably tell from the cover. It is a Western. But it's not a traditional Western, in that it has a lot of traditional elements of a Western, but it's not a traditional Western. Like, my frame of reference for Western novels, I think, is Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian and Patrick DeWitt's The Sisters Brothers. So, this speaks a little differently. It is more like a modern Western, in that it's still set in 1880s, but like for someone reading it now who doesn't want to read a bunch of white people using the N-word, using all kinds of racial slurs and gendered slurs and sexual orientation slurs and all kinds of... If you don't want that, there's none in here. Alright, so... first off, the big overarching thing of this is the incredibly unique voice to it. Our protagonist is who is narrating. Jessie Lynn, or Jessie, or Jesslyn? Jesslyn and Jessie are the two names she goes by. She's a 17-year-old girl. And it's just like, gonna be entirely honest, I don't usually like women narrators written by men. I just don't. I feel like they always do something weird, because men sometimes don't fully get women, but John Larison, I feel like, had help. Like, he understands the women in his life. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It's delightful. Such an original, unique voice. Really surprised it's written by a man. Not angry at it at all. Because sometimes I get angry with men writing women, especially with people who don't represent what's being presented. So, Jessie disguises herself as a boy to go find her brother, who is an outlaw, after her dad passes, and the homestead is left, and the farm is left. And so she needs help. So that's the basic overarch thing. Dress as a boy, go find your outlaw brother. You need help on the farm. So, I say it's the more modern Western. It's still got some dark shit. It's not just like happy sunshine and rainbows. So yeah, there's very, very much some dark killing and graphicness and whatnot, which you get from probably more classic Westerns. Certainly fucking Blood Meridian. Not as bad as Blood Meridian is. No, it's not as bloody as Blood Meridian. There's a point to it when it happens. It's not just killing for the sake of killing, for the most part. So yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of comment online about the pacing of it. This was a book club book. It was my pick, by the way. This was also mentioned in my group, where like some people were like, yeah, I kind of just like skimmed over a little bit here and there, you know, it was boring. But that's kind of what I mean by the pacing. It is slow to start. The book is divided up into I believe it's 4 sections. And it's kind of interesting how each section works. You get kind of like a slow build to like a big moment. And that moment is like where you leave to start the next section, which again starts down kind of low and slowly goes up back again to a big thing that happens, and just does that a couple of times. 4 to be exact, I guess. So yeah, the pacing is a little different in that manner. There's no chapters per se, it's literally just 4 parts. I apologize to my book club when that happened, because I know they only like to like read a little bit at a time and work their way through it. And so not having chapters, they were like, Charlotte, where do we stop? And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. There's no like marker for you to stop at. But yeah, so It is interestingly paced that way. I really like it. The beginning is a little bit slow. Like, the first part is the slowest part, because that's, you know, her as a girl growing up on the ranch, on the farm. I want to go back to saying, when I said John Larison probably had help from women in his life, that works out wonderfully. There is a variety of different women in this book. They are all well-rounded characters with their own thoughts and ideals and morals, and it is perfection. You know, there's a lot of women who are just accepting what they've taken in this life, and there's a lot of women who are not going to accept their lot, and they go and they do something about it, including Jessie. So there is that. I don't want to spoil the entirety of it. I do want to mention the end. The end is a build-up of the entire book, which is really nice, because sometimes you get those weird endings that have nothing to do with the book, and you're like, what's happening? This one is a really nice build-up, taking all of it together, putting, like, everything into this one little section, and then just being like, oh my god, she's doing this, isn't she? And then it happens, and you're fucking frustrated because you saw it coming. But it's also just perfection. There is no other way this book could end than how it ends. And people will argue like, oh, well, you could have done... No, you could not have done the other thing. You could not have done that other thing either. It needed to be what this was to make sense of what the book is. It is one of those things that you wrap it up and you're just like, okay. And like, my book club enjoyed this. And we enjoyed The Sisters Brothers. That was actually our first ever book in our book club. The Sisters Brothers by Patrick DeWitt. So all 3 westerns that I've read have been the result of book club. I'm just realizing. But yeah, it is very unique. It is a very modern western. Like, we do have formerly enslaved African Americans in the book that are never once called the N-word. We do have, you know, a gay man who was never once called the F-word. And, like, the worst that they call the Native Americans are Reds, which is probably not great, but also way better than what they could be calling them. So, there's that. It's just, it's well-rounded and lovely, and it is an old western for a modern age. With a female protagonist who's not a fucking whore. I liked this book a lot. I put it on the book club list because it's already on my shelf, and I was like, we liked that other, like, non-traditional western, so, like, give it a shot, and we finally got to it, and I'm just like, I wish I had just read this without you guys, because I wanted her. Maybe it found me at the right time. But yeah, really, it's a little bit perfect for me. You know, I will actually give this a bit of a rating. 4.5 to 5 stars. It's just, it's great. It's great because you want these things to happen, and then something else happens and you like forget about that entirely, and you're like, okay, well, this thing's gonna happen. And you're like, okay, that's fine. And then you're like, wait, what happened to that other thing? And you're like, oh right, that's not gonna happen. It's like it keeps giving you these little pathways to what you think is gonna go to. And then it just branches off like, nope, we could have taken the left, we went right. So, just delightful in that way. Goodreads seems to agree with me. There is 8,783 ratings as of my recording. 4.04 stars. I get it. Yeah, it is a good book. Should you read it? Yes. I will say on the back here, named at Best Book of the Year by Entertainment Weekly, Oh the Oprah Magazine, Goodreads, Southern Living, Outside, Hello Giggles, Parade, Medium, and NPR's All Things Considered. So, like, there is a lot of different people from a lot of different, like, media outlets that are like... So, I do absolutely think that you should read it if you enjoy strong women, even if they're written by men. Somehow that was not a problem here. If you like queer representation, uses the word queer in here so often, and it's not ever a slur. Yeah, so if you like queer representation, because Jessie does dress up and behave as a man, and questions if she is in fact a man. There's a nice little like lesbian love story. There's a tragic gay love story. I guess the lesbian love story is kind of tragic too, but I'm gonna leave that one alone. What was I doing? Listing why you should read it if you like it. Yeah. If you like westerns that just don't treat women like absolute fucking garbage. Because that's usually why I haven't picked up most westerns. They're very heavily male focused, and if there is a gal in them, it's usually, you know, the strongest one's a madam to a brothel, you know, like that's all they ever really did. And it's just kind of like rude, as if we don't exist, as if we didn't exist in the fucking Wild West as well as things other than prostitutes, my god. So yes, I do highly recommend. Like, this is probably gonna end up on my end of the year best books of the year. That's how much I'm loving it at this exact moment in time. I do want to say the cover that I have here is not necessarily representative of like the story that you're getting. This cover feels like it's trying to appeal to like maybe a YA. And despite our protagonist being 17, 18, I don't feel like it's maybe YA appropriate. I guess y'all have read The Hunger Games. It's probably fine for you. I keep forgetting, like, you read The Hunger Games, you'll do fine in here. Yeah. You'll do fine. But yeah, there is some darkness and some levity and some lightness. That'll be nice. Just love how this book just works all together. It's just each like section of the story coming together and the way it works together is just fantastic. I feel like I'm just rambling about this book now. I've told you all the important points, haven't I? Poor Ingrid. Okay. The horse does not die. One of our friends was reading it and she's like, this horse is gonna fucking die, isn't it? And I was like, no. The horse does not die. The horse ends up being a bittersweet story, but it makes perfect sense. It's great allegory. The horse does not die. There are horses that die, and like an abstract. Our main character's horse does not die. Okay? So if that's a concern for you, no worries. Alright, that's it. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you around next time if you hit that subscribe button.